For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss, Paulie Howard with you live downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. Very busy 3-hour program coming up today. Wes Reynolds a little bit later on. Golf bets, player props as well for tonight's action. Jonathan Davis on the NHL. Derek Stevens, we'll talk some NFL draft with him coming up a little bit later on. Owner of this great property, and Doug Kazarian in studio in 15 minutes. He has done a amazing job betting the draft in previous years. We'll get his thoughts on the latest numbers and some best bets on that event coming up now in 2 nights. We'll also get into the Major League Baseball card today, the hockey card several times, the NBA card that we have tonight as well. Busy action, great night. I don't know if anything can top last night. When you combine what happened in the NHL and the NBA, last night was a fantastic night in sports.
Yes.
And I thought both games in the NBA, the way they played out, these teams are in a little bit of trouble. I thought that about the Knicks going in. Like, I don't think they wanted the smoke from Detroit. I couldn't believe the series price. I couldn't believe some of the thoughts people had on the series. I'm like, have you watched Detroit? And then last night was just, all-time good from Kawhi Leonard.
I believe so. One of the best performances I've ever seen in the playoffs. That a guy, the degree of difficulty in the shots he's taking and making to go 15 of 19 and score 39 points, and it looks like the old Kawhi. And to battle back and all the injuries and couldn't finish the first round the last 2 years, and he sat out the last 23 games of last year, and okay, I'm ready for the playoffs, and then boom, right away, have nothing. And then he was so good against Phoenix, and then he got hurt in that series as well. He was just a superstar performance, had to have it. The shot before halftime, the three he made late, incredible.
The massive three from Powell.
That's right.
Obviously, the missed free throws from Joker down the stretch.
Again, yes. Joker probably won't play like that again, but too many turnovers, and they're the real deal defensively. As we talked about a little bit yesterday while you were out with Von Tobel, for the first time in the history of that franchise, they have a home court advantage. So now they're a 5-point favorite in Game 3. And to touch on what you said to open the show, every hockey game was decided by a goal. 2 go to overtime. The last 10 minutes of the Kings game was banana. I've never seen anything like that. How the Oilers tried to give the game away, and then they tie it. And then this is not your father's Stanley Cup playoffs. Favorites are 8-1, and home teams are 8-1 so far.
You only lost their Dallas.
That's
right away, Game 1 against Colorado.
Yep.
And that's it.
It was awesome, no doubt.
It was so good. I'll ask you this. Will Denver win another game in this series?
Ooh, that's aggressive. Now, when you're in the mid-20s in defense, that's definitely cause for concern, and they're severely outcoached. I mean, the Edelman kid, this is only his 5th game.
Oh, and Lou's fantastic.
Yeah, sure, and Van Gundy as well. Clippers should be up 2-0. They gave away Game 1, as we talked about. I guess from the Denver side, they'll say we were sloppy with the ball. Joker had 7 turnovers, and Kawhi had an all-time performance. We feel good with where we're at. I will counter and say, now you go on the road. Can you trust Westbrook? Can you trust Porter? And you know the others in supporting cast will play better for the Clippers.
That's right. And by the way, who are the others for Denver? They do not exist.
No, bench did nothing again.
They are 6 deep.
That's right.
That is it.
Yep.
So if 5 of the 6 guys, and if they're healthy, by the way, like Murray doesn't go down with an injury or something like that, if they don't have around 5 of those 6 guys all step up and play like massive and have awesome games, I don't know if they do win another game in this series or not.
Wow, I would love to see this go 6 or 7. It's been fun to watch the first 2 games, but that's
okay. So
still you have the best player in the world with Joker. It's hard to just say you're going to go out in 5 because he can have a 30, 15, and 15 game.
Well, what you just said, though, right? The Clippers have been the best team in the series. I mean, clearly, right? Should be up 2-0.
Yep.
They let Game 1 get away. And, Paul, for, 7 out of the 8 quarters, I think clearly, like not even close, no debate here, the Pistons have been better than the Knicks.
Yes. So it goes back to a bigger discussion about how a lot of these series were mispriced, which the Denver series was mispriced. You saw a 60-cent move, 50-cent move on the Clippers. for the Knicks to come out a $4 favorite.
It was just
I can't believe it.
astonishing.
And we talked to Brian Mahoney yesterday. They might lose this series, and they might do the unthinkable and fire Tibbs. But a larger issue, and I like what he said after, was complaining about the refs. They're going to lose this series if the refs continue to give Cunningham the Jordan treatment. With 10 seconds left in the second quarter, free throw attempts were 14-0 in favor of Detroit, the road team. So he's saying we can't get a call, and they're treating Cunningham like a star, and Brunson can't get a call. And the fact that the Knicks just aren't that good. And everyone discounted the Pistons because of the lack of experience, or that I couldn't believe the analysis on this series and the Minnesota series and what the prices were.
Mm-hmm. Now, here's the question, right? Because under David Stern's watch many years ago, you know what would have happened in Game 3 after a guy comes out like Tom Thibodeau and the players saying, oh my God, can you please look at the box score? We're not getting any of the calls. And we're the home team, by the way. We're playing at the Garden. We're playing at the Mecca.
Big market, right.
And this team comes in with no pedigree. I mean, it's been so long since the Pistons have been relevant, right? They've been so bad for so long now. The glory days are many, many years ago. But so this would have flipped in Game 3 going back to Detroit, and New York would have gotten a lot of the calls. Tom Habistro had a great tweet. Now, last night, the Pistons shot more than 30 free throws, but we didn't have a ton of free throws in the late game last night. Free throw attempts by game are so far down this year. They're not calling anything for the most part.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. Highest ratings in 25 years for the first round. I don't know. That's incredible. And the other thing is you're 8-2 to the under with all these games, and you're not getting to the free throw line. And we know always playoff basketball slows down, and it's a whole different animal. But I didn't see that in the play-in games, which we had some overs and high-scoring games. But this is 8-2 to the under. No one's getting to the free throw line, and we've had some blowouts as well to go along.
And
by
the way, so tie it into tonight's action along with tomorrow night. Look at the totals that we have on the board. This Boston-Orlando series, and it's Orlando, so that's going to happen. But it's right now at 198 with the total. So the only high total that we have is Oklahoma City and Memphis. Around 229.5, I think, is on the board right now at Circa.
Well, the Bucks one's high.
Well, the Bucks one is right. Yeah, that's another one too.
But that's
other than that, it's and I saw some projections right before the show from one bettor who I absolutely trust. Every number that he made was way under on these games for every single game. I think his number on the Heat and the Cavaliers game was 207.
See, that's a series I like over, though. And that game went over. The Cavs were horrendous defensively.
Yeah, I agree.
But also, they're going to score against Miami and bombs away. Can we give the Pistons their flowers, by the way, too? You mentioned the drought. They lost 15. Been a long time. The last time they won a playoff game was 2008. LeBron was 249 on the all-time scoring list. Durant was Rookie of the Year. Eggs were $1.83 a dozen. Westbrook, Love, and Rose were about to get drafted.
Oh, man.
Think about that. Long time coming. And now they're favored in Game 3. This is real.
Oh, the Knicks are. And I thought just going in, too, I said it last week when you were out, if I didn't have the Pistons on, I said this on the air a while back, I bet them at 271 to win the East, only to hedge. And I'm not going to hedge against them in this series because I think they match up really well with the Knicks. I think they can beat them.
Yeah.
And I said if I didn't already have them, this plus 330 on the series price would have been an auto play, and I probably should have added more, but I didn't.
Yeah, damn right. Yep. They're in trouble. And Cat isn't playing well. Brunson not getting to the line, and you got to stop with these slow starts.
Yeah,
plus, the Pistons have a lot of guys who can score, and they got dudes down low. Duran was good, and Cunningham's been a superstar. At least he was last night, and I expect that to continue at home. And the other one, I know, the kiss of death, right? Every person at ESPN.com picked the Lakers to win the series.
Right. And by the way, none of them had it go in 7 games.
Yep.
Most of them had it in 5, maybe 6.
I think the Timberwolves here, $1.25 to win the series is a great bet. Based on the numbers we pointed out yesterday, the Lakers went the first 20 minutes of the game without committing a foul, and then they gave up 27 uncontested threes, not even within 6 feet of the shooter. And they hit 19 of them.
Right.
So that's the plan about pack it in, but these guys are going to knock it down. And then maybe there's too much Luka, where I'm going to shoot some other guys are standing around. Reeves had a bad game.
Reeves got to bounce back,
I'm interested to see what happens here because I don't like their chances to get a game in Minnesota. This is a tough matchup for the Lakers, and that was embarrassing what took place in Game 1.
So I'm totally fine, if you're going to pick the series winner, right? And you're not going to say hey, I'm going to lay in 190. All you're doing there is as an expert, right? You're picking who you think is going to win and how many games. So the majority of people, you would expect that they're going to pick the Lakers. I understand that. However, again, some of the analysis that I heard on that series was absolutely baffling to me.
Go on.
People at that place and maybe other spots as well, saying the Lakers would win in 5 or 6 games. Part of the reason why was because their depth is better than the T-Wolves. What are we talking about here? The Lakers' depth is the T-Wolves are one of the deepest teams in the entire NBA. Naz Reid, Dante DiVincenzo, and like McDaniels in the game that he had, they are major problems for who matches up with those 3 guys for the Lakers off their bench.
Yeah,
they don't have a single player.
Well, they're going to get killed down low too.
Of course.
And I'm still shocked at the post game comments that their physicality surprised us. Come on.
Well,
this isn't like a second round game in March Madness here. I mean, you played these guys many times.
That's right.
That's a bizarre comment. NFL Draft, one of the few betting events where research beats reputation. VSiN Pro helps you cash in. Get VSiN Pro access through August 1st, just $59. Every best bet, every host, every guest, the betting splits, which you all love from DraftKings and Circa, 24/7 video access, and the betting trends. Good stuff up there today from Mackinnon. If you want to take the points with Memphis, teams that get blown out since 2013, only 40% ATS in the next game. Draft, Derby, and beyond, every sport, every edge, one low price. VSiN.com/subscribe. Get it now.
Alexander Walker's another player. That's always been one of the strengths for this Minnesota team. By the way, geez, what do you think about this? I did take a little bit at the Grizzlies tonight, plus 14.5.
I don't mind it. It's just, that was so embarrassing. But I mean, OKC's played them 5 times and hammered them all 5.
Oh, I understand that.
But this goes back to if you're going to show any pride here.
That's exactly right.
This is it.
And a team that you said Kawhi's performance last night, one of the best you've ever seen.
Yep.
The numbers don't lie. Desmond Bane's the only player ever to have minus 50, and it was minus 51 in the plus minus in a playoff game.
Uh-huh.
And they lost by 51 points.
My favorite stat is the first fast break points they had was the third quarter heave from beyond half court.
God, that was it might not be a fun bet to make or to watch unfold tonight, but I had to take the points based on what happened in that previous game. Doug Kazarian on the program coming up next. He hit a 100-to-1 shot in the NFL draft last year, famously won hundreds of thousands on the event a couple of years back. We'll find out what he thinks of the event in 2 nights next.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. We are live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. NFL Draft coming up in 2 nights. That's going to be awesome. We're going to be hanging out at Stadium Swim for the entire event.
Dr. John in town. Can't wait.
All right. Doug Kazarian joins the program now. He is in studio, kind enough to swing on down here on a Tuesday afternoon to talk NFL Draft. For those of you who don't know, last year, and thanks for the text on this one, by the way. You had Brock Bowers at 100-to-1 to go to the Raiders.
I posted it on a free site and gave it away on multiple podcasts.
Going back, you had Walker to the Jags, number 1, when he was 20-to-1 and 10-to-1, right? When we thought everybody thought it was going to be Hutchinson. And then most famously, in 2021, that was the Tyson Campbell draft. For people who don't know the story, you won almost $300,000 on him. How?
Yeah, I wonder if I'm the culprit here, like change the whole landscape of draft betting and why books are running away from it. No, it was quote unquote a mistake, but it wasn't Trevor Lawrence who was the number 1 pick that year in a running back index bet. Like it wasn't mislabeled or anything like that. It was these index bets, and with each book has a certain hold percentage, right? So if there's a minus 250 favorite, and then the second favorite's like plus 200, and another one's 3-to-1. Like everyone else, to offset all the hold, has to be 100-to-1. So they had a bunch of 100-to-1s, and we see this in the derivative market when there's an injury. Like, look, Tatum's now doubtful, right? So the leading scorer of that game has to change, and then the points props have to change, and then everything else. Maybe the rebounds leader for the game. If you remove one guy out of an index bet, there's a domino effect. Well, what happened was Tyson Campbell out of Georgia. There was Stokes out of Georgia. He was already projected first round, but Campbell was climbing the markets. And if we know now with the mock drafts, right? So over the weekend, there's little blurbs you get and cameos on radio or tweets, but everyone saves their final mock draft to Wednesday. And then there's some TV show stuff, but it's really breadcrumbing from like Friday to Wednesday. And so what was happening was Campbell was moving up the board. Here, his over-under for his draft over-under was like 62.5. And my buddy bet it big, and it went to like 40.5. And then he was done betting it because he only had so much money. He had all these other props. He goes, I still like under. So Campbell was climbing because he's a corner. He was originally thought to be a safety because he was a tall player. So when these books initially put up their index bets or indices, they label a guy a certain position. So 3 months before the draft, he was a safety. And so he was in the index of the first safety drafted. Now, there was Morig Woodard that year that was supposed to go 15th for the Raiders. He was minus 250. And another guy out of UCF, I believe. And so what happened is those guys fell, things like that, and it just was a perfect storm. And the fact that Urban Meyer was coaching the Jags at the time, wanted to recruit him out of high school in Florida to when he was at Ohio State. Urban Meyer was at Ohio State. Didn't get him. He went to Georgia. So there was definitely a backstory there.
How did you attack that? Did you jam the kiosk? Did you go like $20 bets at the counter and tell just hit it till you run out of paper? What'd you do?
I'd love a more like cloak and dagger story. I didn't notice it till at night. I was at home going through just all the apps and everything. So it was like 9:30, 10, and I saw it in the index, and it's Monday night of draft week. And it's just like the edge, linebacker thing. Like it's all positional and sort of those tweener guys. And I realized I saw him in the index bet, and it was 100-1. So I actually drove down to the Bellagio and was firing in the kiosk because nothing else was open. And that machine, and things have changed a little bit, but that machine can only print out a ticket that pays max $20,000. I think it was 20 or 25. So it was 101, $200. And then you can keep firing. They have time to move it. I left, went to like get food or whatever, and I was talking to my buddy, and I was like, we should probably bet more on this. You have so much in play, and you already know your scalp, but you already know you're making money at that point because you have so many scalps on positional over-unders on other guys, and you just got to go for it. I mean, that's the thing. When you think that something's mispriced, you just got to go for it.
So you were jamming the kiosk overall?
It took like an hour and a half, 2 hours, yeah.
Okay. And then when did you go with, how many tickets did you have at the end of the night then?
Like 20, 25.
And did you go to the counter then all at one time and say, here you go, here's $300?
Yeah, so it was Kentucky Derby weekend was when we cashed, or when I cashed, I think it was, and I waited till that Saturday, and it was just mayhem. So they were like, and then the main office for Bellagio is at the MGM. I didn't know that, So what happened was like the teller or the guy who was working the overnight shift deleted it in their system because he didn't want to get busted because he should have moved the price after the first ticket. He fell asleep, I guess, on the job. I've heard different backstories. I don't know this for sure, but
you weren't concerned about palpable error and all that?
There wasn't a palpable error. Again, it wasn't Trevor Lawrence listed as a running back. It wasn't 1,000-1. It was 100-1. Just like the whole just given the whole percentage with a -2, that's what the odds have to be. And it took like 5 things to break my way for it to even. I mean, he went in the second round. So
and that was the first safety off the board.
First pick, yeah, in that index, right. So the Morig Woodard was -250 to the Raiders. Ironically, the Raiders got him in the middle of the second round. Now, safety, like linebacker, those are positions that sort of tend to drop, right? Like running back, depending on the year. So it just was like a perfect storm. It probably should have been like 40-1 or something. Nothing wasn't like it should have been like 2-1. And that's what happens. I mean, I have a lot of other long shot tickets that in cash, but 100-1 was definitely value because you knew corners were such a position of value in this NFL, and so he would be kind of overdrafted, if you will, and he was climbing like no other. And then the final mocks all had him end of the first round.
Did they really?
But he still went like 9th corner or whatever. It was just like a big run on corners.
So do you do that often, by the way, to a kiosk when
No,
Okay.
Now it's all changed. They want everything on app. Like you can't bet at most books here over the counter. You have to bet on the app or the kiosk, and they limit everything to like $100 tops or payouts. Or if you're like Resorts World, they'll just reject the bet and move the number.
Sure, that's always fun.
Yeah, and then take it all down on a $180 bet within the last week. So they'll do that. So what's the point of this? I mean, I have numerous stories. I had to take notes because I've talked to buddies. They won't even take a $100 bet, and they take it down, and then they just shut it down for the rest of the day. So I don't know what these books are trying to.
You're talking specifically now NFL draft.
Yes, yeah, certainly NFL draft. Yeah, it's the laziest. It's the most ridiculous thing I've seen across the landscape. I mean, I love what Johnny Avello said last night. He went on primetime with Matt Humans and Tim Murray and said, I love the draft. We've lost in the past, but we're getting better at it. We expect to win this year. It's definitely a different animal. We've allocated resources to it and figuring it out how to book it. I love what Caesars did starting a couple years ago. You can't treat it like another sport. Hey, you got Summer League this year, Johnny, or no, it takes years. So they have one guy, that's his job for like 2 months. He only does the draft. He doesn't do it with like NHL or baseball or something like that. And you can do other things. You can meet in the middle. You can say, hey, let all the news come in the morning. We'll take it down. We'll repost odds at like noon for the next 8 hours. You can do stuff like that with the information cycle and things like that. So it's a leveler playing field. But it's not hard to make money as an odds maker. You know how many guys chase steam here? DraftKings with their CEO or admittedly says we don't want guys who win. So they're letting a bunch of people bet on their odds. Like they're clearly going to make money. It's not that the straddle's 40 cents at most places. It's not that absurd. It's just a different animal and you have to allocate time and energy. But I mean, if you want to be an originator, you want to be an actual odds maker, it's not that crazy and it can be done.
So it sounds to me, based on what Johnny was saying last night, obviously they're going to make it bigger like every single year, which is something they've done probably since the pandemic.
Right, and maybe you don't have to put up draft odds 2 months in advance. Fine. I mean, I get it. Okay. Like maybe only sharp money at that point.
What are you thinking now? You got a big boy here coming up Thursday or Friday?
Nothing 100-1. I have a 24-1 that I don't think is going to hit. But Jalen Walker, I bet it yesterday at 4th overall. Obviously, we know the Patriots are supposed to go with offensive line, but they called Walker like a Patriot guy. He's an alpha dog. The defense doesn't really have one yet. I know they want the tackle to protect Drake May's blind side, but if they were to go sort of curveball, I think that's who they go. Stud out of Georgia, things like that. Most places it's 10 or 12-1, right? So I would go. I mean, I don't think Genty's off the board there at 4, or out of the question, I should say. No,
I wanted to run that by you.
I mean, they want to protect their young quarterback? Isn't a stud running back like a good way to do that?
Did Mike Vrabel not have Derrick Henry and that offense completely based around him his entire time that he was at Tennessee?
I mean, Saquon made Daniel Jones look good for a while.
So I also think there's this idea that you need to file away. Now Genty is like even money or turned into an odds-on favorite to go 5th overall. The thought is that Jacksonville's going to take him. What about now? So if the Raiders wanted him at 6 and now Jacksonville wants him at 5, what if the Raiders say, well, we really want him, or another team loves Genty on top of it and says, okay, we're going to move up with New England to number 4, and that's where we're going to take Genty. And the Patriots would probably be super happy to move back in this draft.
I think this is a down draft, right? I talked to one guy who actually works at a team, and he heard within his office, like there's only 3 top 10 guys on their board or something like that. So that's why I think Genty's being discussed. And I know Barkley, and I know the recency of that. I just don't think he's like this guy you trade up for. I really don't. I mean, he's a Mountain West running back. We don't really know how he's going to project. Some guy, all it takes is one guy to love you. We've seen that with ridiculous draft picks over the last few years. But some of this is just smokescreen. I'm not convinced the Raiders want him.
Okay, so more with Doug Kazarian up next. We'll get his favorite bet on the board right now, if there still is one here on Tuesday.
Yeah, there is.
And by the way, you mentioned Johnny Avello last night. If you missed his appearance with the guys on VSiN Primetime, all you have to do is get the VSiN Watch app. You can get it on the Google Play Store or download it on the Apple App Store as well. VSiN Watch app. Get it today. You can watch and listen to live shows and every replay of every show here on the network as well. So more with DK coming up next. You got very excited there. Yes, there is. Favorite bet on the board as of right now for the Thursday night NFL draft. We'll find out what it is next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome back. NFL Draft coming up Thursday night. Talking about it here with Doug Kazarian. What a great story in the previous segment, how he won almost $300,000 on Tyson Campbell to be the first safety drafted in the 2021 draft. So before you get into your best bet or bets that you like for Thursday's draft, can you go down the path? Again, you said that you're picking up breadcrumbs from basically last Friday to like Wednesday, right? And you do that every single year. What did you notice last year about Brock Bowers in order to make a bet on him at 100-1 to go to the Raiders?
So this whole exercise is like an SAT sort of question. It's picking up sort of nuggets and then also focusing on who's making the assumptions that are too much. So Bowers was supposed to go, I think, 11th to the Jets. So his ADP was like 12.5, 13, because there was another team at like 14 or something. And so why should teams with the 12th and 13th pick be 100-1? Just because the Raiders had Michael Mayer, like another tight end, but it's like tight ends nowadays are split wideouts and sometimes they block. And it was a new coach kind of. So I just thought that should be like 20-1. Just because that's where he's projected. And there's trades and it's, why can't the Raiders first position? And I took running back the year before was as the for the first position that the Falcons draft. Who's the stud running back out of Texas? BJ Robinson. Yeah. Because talent is talent, right? Like best player available. So knowing Bowers would be best player available and that was his target. So it just made sense. And if you can poke holes in anything, like I've heard ridiculous stuff on draft pods, radio interviews, whatnot, NFL analysts on ESPN. Like, people don't really know the draft. They're just shoehorning it because it's such a popular thing, right? So knowing that all this, the market and all this discussion and everything is all because the Raiders already have Michael Mayer. It's ridiculous, right? Like, how is that influencing the market as much as it is? So it's just about spotting sort of silly assumptions, I think is the way.
Very well said.
Way that one was.
All right. So your best bet for the draft on Thursday night as of right now would be what?
So there's a few, and I want to talk about one, the corner, the defensive back position, and then Mikael Williams, who's the stud out of Alabama, or one of them. Sorry, Georgia. So with this kind of stuff is, we talked about it earlier about the domino effect. When one guy, like for example, Shedeur Sanders dropping out of the third pick slot, maybe even the Saints, the top 10, then there's got to be people moving in. And that's where you have to go back and take notes on everything from months earlier and start to move. So you heard Carolina loved him. You heard the Saints loved him. So now the Saints are back in the picture, and even the Raiders like him in case they want to go beefier on the defensive line and maybe not Walker. So, and then you see the market moves, like who's the first defensive lineman edge guy. And by the way, Abdul Carter and some of these guys are listed at different positions depending on, same with Travis Hunter. So be careful on all of that. But you start to connect dots. And Mikael Williams was like plus 750 Sunday afternoon to be a top 10 pick. By Monday morning, he was plus 350. Last night, he was plus 150, and now he's about even money. He's probably going to be minus 200 tonight. So, yes, did you miss 750 on Sunday? That doesn't mean it's a bad bet because there's more information that's come out. So with all these guys dropping, Williams has come up.
This is entirely different than betting an NBA game tonight.
Correct.
It's not even close to the same thing. It's all based on information, so you're spot on with that.
Right, because he might be minus 500 by draft night.
There you go.
And so it's all beauty in the eyes of the beholder, right? So I think that's a really important thing. The other thing is the cornerback, defensive back position. And I think this is so important for me because Will Johnson's the guy out of Michigan who was very highly thought of, right? He's the big guy. He was from minus 300 to pick him to back to minus 200, and now he's about minus 140 to be the first defensive back. But there's Jahdae Barron, who's a total stud, crushed the combine, and can play sort of different positions like a slot cover. And so, and with Johnson, he was 11.5, and the over got pounded. The key is for me is McShay with the Niners at 11 on his recent pod said he is definitely not going 11th because the Niners do need a corner, but they need other positions. I think McShay has going O lineman.
That's a guy I think you can trust. He talks to everyone.
So 12 is Dallas. They don't need a corner. And 13 is Miami. And the reason I'm bringing up those two is because the over-under got moved to 13.5. So Miami needs a corner. But, and this is where it really takes expertise and knowledge, and this is why the books are running from what could be a moneymaker, and that's what I love what Avello said. If they do their homework, there's going to be a bunch of people chasing steam and don't know what they're doing, and they're just reckless. So Miami mostly does man-to-man. That's their defensive structure, and Johnson is not a good fit. He's more of a zone corner, if I'm remembering this all correctly. So Barron is perfect in that spot. So even if Barron doesn't go 13th to Miami, because they could go another position, O-line or something, they're not going to get Johnson. So hammer over 13.5 as well. So even today, I laid minus 300 for over 11.5 for Johnson. He's not going because there's going to be a run on wide receivers at some point, maybe Dallas 12. So maybe 30, maybe things will change. People trade up. But no one's trading up, in my eyes, to take Johnson, who has an injury history. He avoided all the 40-yard times and all the stuff. He's not fast. He just played on that Michigan national championship team. Oh, and then this year he had an off year, or he just didn't have the great defensive front protecting him. So I don't think he's the first corner at all. So I would do Barron under 18.5 plus money, although it's now even. I still think that's a good bet. But I would do him plus like $1.20 as the first corner off the board.
Okay, very good. I bet him last week plus 150 under 18.5. I also took a shot on him top 10.
Okay.
At 10-1.
Yeah.
Because Aaron Glenn is the new head coach for the Jets.
Loves him.
And rumblings there are that, he was a defensive guy. He wants to go potentially cornerback here, and he loves Barron.
But what'd you get?
10-1 top 10 and under 18.5 plus 150.
Okay. And he's plus 120 now under 18.5. But the thing is also, this goes back to assumptions. Just because the Bears bring an offensive-minded coach doesn't mean they can't draft a defensive player.
Oh, sure.
Like, I get the appeal if Genty fell or even Warren or something like that. But, again, like, where are the assumptions being made? And that a flimsy assumption can skew the market way too much. So it's all about finding value. So I think just today, Mikael Williams has value at even money. Barron has value at plus 140, but there's more value like plus 750 Williams on Sunday. If you had done the homework and then you see Sanders is really falling, you can start to remember the Carolina and the Saints. So if you put it all together, that's how you beat the market. But you can't chase steam anymore. The Skins, everyone, they're moving stuff drastically. Bookmakers have learned how to book this draft much more efficiently.
Okay, are we totally buying that Shedeur Sanders is not going to go in the top 10? Is there anything here to the Giants potentially losing their minds at number 3?
Yeah, I mean, I said technically the draft starts at 3. I mean, you just have to. You can't just assume this. I mean, 1, I think we know.
That's Carter.
Yeah.
To me, it's got to be Carter, though.
At 3.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I said technically it could be, I guess, Sanders. I mean, I don't want to die on that hill, but I'd be stunned if it's not Carter. Huh. But I think 4. I mean, Patriots have the short-armed O-lineman because I just don't understand 4th overall and saying stuff, worst case scenario, you have a guard for the next decade. It's like, oh, he's blue collar. It's like Duke drafting Duke players in the 90s. It's just silly at this point. They've called Walker a Patriot guy. They like him. They speak highly of him. But again, I wouldn't bet it at the current like 12-1 or something.
So
unlikely, obviously.
So Mitch's question: how far does he fall? And then still, there's people all over the networks making the case that Dart can go.
I'm under 2.5 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see the move on that today?
What is it? It's like still plus money, no?
Plus 105.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
It was just plus 340.
Again, they're moving drastically because they can. If you have that big of a straddle, then you can always move it back. But you don't want to. The worst thing is like an NFL odds maker told me this. The worst thing you want to do on a Monday or Sunday when you take an opening bet at 3.5, move to 4, take another max bet 4.5. You want to move it to 5.5. Usually, you want to avoid the 6, and then see what happens. And if you have to move back the other way, who cares? You're only middled one limit bet on a Monday from the next Sunday. That's like a $2,000 bet instead of just taking chunks and being lopsided. So in that case, they'll just go the other way, and if these limits are relatively low, that's how you book these stuff. You have to drastically move, but you got to be careful moving the number like I was talking about with the corner situation from 11.5 to 13.5. You got to be careful with those teams because it's about fit as well.
Right. Did you notice something with Jalen Milroe the other day on a prop?
I over 32.5, so he's not a first-round pick in my eyes.
I can't imagine that
minus 200. I mean, it's out. Yeah. I mean, value can be minus 200.
Yeah. Of course it can be.
Right. But again, remember, the farther you get away from the number 1 overall pick, the more unpredictable it is.
Of course.
I mean, it's an obvious, but worth saying. So like top 5, we know, it's like, so once you get into the 20s, then you got Howie Roseman sitting there wanting to trade. I mean, stuff can get a little wonky. A few years ago, I did barely eke out a win. It was the most trades ever on draft day. So like, but I would have won a lot if Stroud and Will Anderson went flip-flop back-to-back to Houston.
Oh, same here.
That just crushed me. Yeah. And there are also going to be those dumb picks like the offensive tackle that the Arizona Cardinals took from Ohio State. Like sometimes these hero GMs just make bad picks, but you also have to factor that in. That's why you want high payout to some of this, and you don't want to be laying too heavy of a juice. But I do like Will Johnson over 11.5, things like that.
Very good. That was awesome. You're also a big NBA guy.
Yeah.
Quickly here, about a minute left. Lifetime Lakers guy. Are they in trouble here?
Zigzag theory. I would not. Remember last year, T-Wolves won the first 2 games in Denver. Mm-hmm. A week ago, Sherpan asked me if the Thunder don't win the West, who does? And I said Minnesota. They took a while to figure it out. Then DiVincenzo was hurt. Gobert was hurt. I think their flexibility and they have a stud and remember a year ago when it was conference finals before game 1 at each, the T-Wolves were the favorite over the Celtics to win the title. Like this team's good. Remember, he's getting Michael Jordan comparisons. So the T-Wolves are legit for sure. I do think the Lakers win. I like maybe a combo of like T-Wolves win the first quarter. I think T-Wolves pick up where they left off.
Really?
And the Lakers come back and eke it out. But the Lakers have been playing well in the first quarters, like last month or so.
Thanks, dude. Good to see you.
All right. And then Grizzlies first quarter, I like.
Okay, very good. You can follow Doug on X. He's at Doug Kazarian. And also Instagram, by the way. Great dog, Arthur, that he puts up there all the time. Win some, lose some up next. Winning in this fashion was 45-1 last night. Paulie with the details coming up.
If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Good to have you on board. It is Follow the Money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Every Tuesday at this time, the owner and the CEO of this great property, Derek Stevens, joins us here in studio. Good to see you as always. How are you today?
Good. How you doing, fellas?
Doing really well. The city was absolutely on fire this weekend, as it always is. But, I mean, my God, the WrestleMania events and the video, I didn't go, but just looking at the videos and the photos from all the events that they had across town and then at Allegiant Stadium and then at T-Mobile, how nuts was it here for all the wrestling events?
I mean, it was just crazy. I did a lot of learning. You know, I enjoyed, I love events, right? I'm not a guy that knows a lot about wrestling. But I took a lot of pictures with wrestlers. I held a lot of belts. I took pictures. You know, our guy Aaron, we developed our own Circa belt. So, like, he basically said I had to carry the thing around for all weekend. We had a lot of fun with that. We traded belts. I learned how people that have belts, how you smack belts together as a sign of respect. So it was amazing. What a weekend.
So I love this, by the way. We asked Mike Palm last week when he was in studio. I was joking around. I'm like, look, I want to bet the main event. I want to bet Cena against Rhodes. And he goes, you know what? We actually did reach out to Nevada Gaming. We wanted to see with it in town if, like, hey, can we put a couple of bets up on the board? And they just were like, absolutely not.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a different thing, you know. It's just,
yes.
I think you know it'd be a casual better thing if you could ever get it on. You know, some states allow you to bet on the Oscars.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, it's not something when the answer is known in advance.
How many people know that though? Oscars is like 2, right? 3 people. How many people would know the outcome of what happens?
If you could bet on it, I bet there's more than the 2 or 3 that you're talking about.
Damn right.
So
damn right.
I don't know. I mean, but yeah, just for more for some giggles here. Yeah, I think there'd been a lot of people that would have wanted to bet either on Cena or against Cena. I mean, I personally like this 3-way, the triple threat on Saturday night. I never even knew what a triple threat was. I kept asking everybody I asked, they weren't wrestling. Like, how do you do this with Roman Reigns? How do you do this with CM Punk? Mm-hmm. And then how do you do it with the guy that won the whole thing? Like, you got 3 guys in a ring. I didn't know that. You know, they all take turns, you know, pounding each other. And then you got Heyman coming in that adds something else to it. How do you handicap that?
Yeah, they set a record for biggest WrestleMania ever. What's the clientele like and the fan? Is it an eclectic mix of what the fans are like?
Yeah, you know, Circa might have been a little bit different because, you know, we're 21 and over.
Uh-huh.
I heard there's a lot of kids in town, a lot of kids everywhere. I mean, let's also remember, it's Easter weekend. It's not like it's been historically one of the best weekends. It's Easter weekend's not really made for Vegas necessarily. So overall, it was busy. I mean, hotel rooms were busy, packed, high hotel rates. Rooms are sold out. Restaurants were busy. So it was a great weekend. I think LVCVA did a great job trying to get this on.
You also had Circa Mania going on at Stadium Swim. That looked like a smashing success as well.
Yeah, so all of us, you know, usually we're down here in our spot watching sports, and we watched, you know, on Saturday afternoon and watched the Knicks Piston game, and after that was over, I'm like, hey guys, let's go up there and sneak up and see what's happening. Next thing you know, we fill up the 15th floor. We're looking at this. We're watching this triple threat. We're watching all the, like, this is hilarious. We had a good time. We had a good time watching it, and Stadium Swim got sold out for it. So I'm a wrestling fan now.
Do you remember? You don't get into Hogan and Iron Sheik when you were growing up?
Iron Sheik.
I mean,
Hogan was the biggest thing going in the 80s.
Yeah, I know.
Brother.
I don't know. No? I just
you don't
never.
Remember?
I remember, okay. But I never asked for the action figure. Just because it just wasn't my thing. I never asked for the Hulk Hogan action figure. Andre the Giant. Yeah, I know who he is.
Sure.
After that, you got Mysterio. He's the guy with the mask, right?
I remember
those names.
Got it.
Yeah. That's about it.
How about? And I know Mike also mentioned this Wednesday, but what can this lead to, and what's the future where you cannot believe the handle on the Masters and how many people bet this and can't get enough, and it's only going to continue to grow?
I think this the Masters handle we had kind of blew us away. We're in 5 states, and I was surprised to see the handle everywhere. I was surprised to see the growth, and then I think after a Masters like this, perfect weather, great field, tight back and forth action. Mm-hmm. My goodness, I think this Masters, the Masters of 2025, is going to be the launch pad for Masters of the next decade. What a great sport! And then from a betting perspective, I'll be up front. Circus Sports, we're behind. We are behind the 8 ball on our software, but we're building our own software. We're building our own tech, and it's going to be better, and it won't be too much longer. This is a sport with the new technology out there. My God, is it fun? I'm betting on MGM's app, and I'm betting almost like every 5 minutes I'm getting a bet down. It's such an incredible sport to bet on. I loved it. I think Masters betting is just gonna continue to skyrocket.
I tell people that all the time because I still have like family members, friends who are like, "You watch a lot of golf. You also bet on this stuff." And like they always say it's so boring. I'm like, okay. Again, think about what you just said. If you bet this sport, and all it's going to take is one outright winner. That's all you're going to be hooked for life, right? Mm-hmm. But if you bet this sport, you're going to watch, and you're going to have like the time of your life over 4 days watching it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's an amazing sport to bet.
It's one of the best sports to bet. There's no question about it. I understand a lot of people say, throw golf on, on a Sunday or Saturday when you're trying to take a nap type of thing. Uh-huh. But I'll tell you put a few bucks on it. It is amazing how much fun it is. Yeah, I agree.
Thanks for this. We have our first Beyond the Booth Thursday, and the guy's a doctor, and he did it the right way. You go to vsin.com/Beyond the Booth. He has the cabana the whole day. He gets here at 10 in the morning. He's got day baseball into the draft. He loves to bet, and we also have Jordan Scott and Sean Higgs and all these guys coming out in the summer. But this is the first guy who's coming out here on Thursday. Can't wait.
That's awesome.
And
so
he's fired up.
So okay, so let me get this. So Doc here, Doc's got a cabana. He's going out there for day baseball. You guys got your show in here, right?
Yes.
And then you guys are going out right after the show out there to watch the draft with him?
Yep.
All night. Yep.
Awesome.
Yes.
I love it. Do you know what football team he's a fan of?
I didn't get that yet. No, he was asking us what teams we like. I said he's bringing gifts, which you don't have to do that. Hopefully the gift will be Taryn if she's out there serving us. But in any event, he was the guy who he went to one of these viewing parties inside a dome in these big cities for March Madness, and they only had only one game on.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'm paying all this money. Where's the active content here? Right. We only got one game on.
No, there's no active content. I know these immersive new stadiums, they're awesome, but those things are a lot different than a sports book. They're different than a sports bar. People love them, but it's as if you're sitting in the first row at Lambeau Field or the first row at at Notre Dame's football stadium. Mm-hmm. Great place to watch a game. Yeah, it has to be a singular game. It's more Super Bowl orientated or a big college. It is not a place you want to go to if you're interested in multiple games. It's a different concept, but if you're there, it's unbelievable. We had a promo done because a few people were talking about it, and that's the difference between like what we got going versus what they've got going. But I know the people that have gone to see a game there, like it's a Monday night football. It's as if you are sitting right there in the Winfield Club or something like that.
You guys posted, I think, 15 player props or so for the NFL draft?
Yeah, 15 too many.
Okay.
No, okay.
Have you?
What an answer.
How has the handle been on them?
It's been way too high.
Way too high.
It's way too high.
You want zero handle, basically.
I don't want to do this.
Why do you hate it?
I'm capitulating to Chris Bennett, Jeff Benson. I don't even know that Mike Palm's pushing for it. I'm capitulating to Dylan, who's doing it for us. We've only won one time, and that was in COVID when Chris Bennett did it himself. But it's an impossible thing to win on. I mean, I don't know why this is legal. It doesn't make sense to me. We couldn't book on WrestleMania, right? Well, it's scripted. Well, so is this. I guarantee somebody knows who's taking the 29th pick. There's somebody listed out there is over-unders at 50. But somebody out there knows if this guy goes past 35, he's gone. People know, and the word gets out.
What about trades, though? That throws people off.
It does. It does throw. Yeah.
I get caught chasing steam, too.
I don't know. In NFL draft, we never won a trade.
All right.
Well, okay. All right.
Yeah. Thanks for this, too. Derek stepping it up. This summer, go all in at Circa Las Vegas, the ultimate getaway package. Just $400 all in. 2-night stay at Circa, $100 dining credit, $100 beverage credit, your own day bed at Stadium Swim. All for just $400. Limited time offer between May 26th and September 4th. Lock it in now. The all-in summer package, CircaLasVegas.com.
Wow, that's incredible.
Wow.
Take advantage of that today. And In-Pocket Plays coming up next.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.